Welcome everybody to the 6 Yard Box podcast, the podcast of the Juventus official fan club Toronto. This is episode 6. I'm your host, Joe Chiraco, and I'm joined with my co-host, John Groh, and with our guest and member, Silvio Rogato, for episode 6 today. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on today's edition, which is going to be a season preview, a 2020-2021 season preview for our beloved Juventus and the Serie A season. I wanted to start off with introducing you guys to our listeners to Silvio, one of the most passionate Juventus fans that I know, and one of our biggest members as well, who just joined us this year. Silvio, thanks again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
We'd love to hear a little bit about yourself and how you became a Juventus fan, as is the tradition on our 6 Yard Box podcast. So take it away, my friend.
Yeah, you're going to put me on the spot. Yeah, I'm really going to show my age here. Anyways, growing up in Italy when I was a little kid, there were three main teams, which they still are today. But back in the 70s, Juventus, Inter, and Milan, they were the top three back then. But I started to play soccer in the early years, and my background with my father being involved with where I come from with the Cosenza Calcio team. He was assistant manager. I was exposed to soccer at an early age. So I was able to join, playing soccer when I was 6 years old in the early 70s. And at the time, the way I was growing up like pretty taller than the average Italian kid back then, right? So they put me in net. So my love became actually for Juventus after the World Cup of the '78, and which was Dino Zoff, the unfortunately situation at the semifinal against Holland back then. Those two goals from outside way outside the box. But I started following Juventus right from that year. That actually that was a big time that that team was one of the best teams, as we know, until now in the early 80s, with Trapattoni being the coach. He went to win five out of the 6 years. He won the Scudetto. He won the two Coppa Italia, Coppa UEFA, Champions League. All the squad that he had. But yes, and then I moved here. Actually, that year after we won champions, I moved to Canada in '86. So, and I followed still my passion here. Keeping that and stay connected from here.
That's amazing. We always love hearing how everybody's got a different story on how they became a Juventus fan. And the fact that you grew up in Italy, obviously, it hits closer to home for you, I can imagine. For those that don't know, Silvio is actually part of our Juventus official fan club chapter, the Alessandro Del Piero Chapter, which covers the Halton, Peel, the lower end of Peel, Hamilton, Niagara, and St. Catharines area, the southwest area of the Golden Horseshoe. And what we've done at our club, obviously, we're the Juventus official fan club Toronto, but there has been such a massive demand for Juventinita, of the Juventus passion here in Ontario, that we obliged and decided to open up 2 chapters. So Silvio is part of, right now, our biggest chapter of the 2. However, we are growing up in Northern Ontario, where we have our second, the Gigi Buffon chapter. So if you're listening in the Hamilton, Southern Ontario region, or up north in Thunder Bay, Sudbury, in the Sault, in Sault Ste. Marie, we're there for you. And Juventus Official Fan Club, you'll get all our benefits. You'll get events tailored to your area, to local sponsors and local events happening in your areas. So again, we are spreading fast and at a demand that we've never seen before in our club. And we are happy to have guys like Silvio on board to help us out with that. And again, the work he's done with the ADP chapter is phenomenal. So thank you, Silvio. It's been a pleasure to see you. Obviously, I'm not going to leave John out in the cold. We do have another co-host here, John Groh, with me as always. John, how are you doing? How's everything?
Oh, it's a distant podcast today. I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, on business, so I decided to join you from my hotel room while I get some other things done for what I do on a daily basis. For those who think I just drink, sleep, eat, Juve, I don't. I do have businesses that help me out, and so it's fun always getting together. It's actually, I don't know if everyone knows the story between myself and Silvio. It was actually pretty interesting one. Marcella from the New York Empire State official fan club was on a particular podcast, and she kind of let me know. She's, hey, watch it, give me some tips, let me know if I did okay. Just want to let you know that that I was, I'm going to be on. Obviously I was really happy to hear that she was going to be on. I reached out to her and said, look, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. And lo and behold, when it was live, I was working. So I was doing some work from the camera, from the computer, and I had double screen. So I had the podcast on and doing my work. I'm actually paying more attention to the podcast than my work. And Silvio was on. And then, obviously finding out that he was from, the Oakville, Ontario area, I'm like, look, hold on a second here. We don't have this guy as a member. This is crazy. So literally it was at, I think, was it 12:30, quarter to 1 in the morning, Silvio? I went on Facebook, found him. I private messaged him, and the rest is history. You're talking about the guy who's grown our Southwestern Ontario chapter. We went from zero. He went from zero to hero. This guy in a matter of, I would say, what do we say, 4 months, 5 months, Silvio? Upwards of
4 months.
65, approaching 70 members as a result. This is incredible feat. He's been a very devoted member, a devoted part of the arm of the board. So I want to thank Silvio for his dedication.
Thank you guys for having me on board.
No, continued growth, and this is what it is. It's all about family. And from the first time I went to go meet with Silvio and meet with his son, met his wife. It's been nothing but a family approach and very accommodating. So Silvio, thank you, welcome. And it was honestly, it was a bit of a by chance, but I think I have to send a gift or a bouquet of roses to Marcella NYC for the heads up, because if it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't have met. Probably down the road, but not as efficient and as quickly as it happened. So, but I'm great. I'm in Manitoba. It's probably warmer over there than it is over here. But I'll be back tomorrow in the GTA. But it's always great to talk soccer with you guys just before the literally the eve of the new soccer season, which really we went a month and a bit before it all died out. Right. So it's great that out of everything that's COVID, that we were jumping right back into a season.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, John, season start at time of recording, we're about less than 48 hours away from the first games of Serie A. Before we get to the actual league itself, I want to get your opinions on, obviously, since episode 5, which we had a very great episode. If you haven't checked it out with the ladies of our club, we did discuss the hiring of Andrea Pirlo, who had, at that time when we recorded that podcast, it was, I think, less than 48 hours after that. And we got their opinion on Pirlo. I want to get your opinions. Silvio, I'll start with you. Obviously, there's been a lot of, we've had about a month of him at our training camp and seeing what he's had to do. Now that we've had a chance to see a little bit of the training and he's been able to speak about his philosophy, what he wants from the team. What are your thoughts on Andrea coming back as our coach? Some people are saying no experience. Some people are saying it's a great move. What are your thoughts? Silvio, I'll start with you.
Well, my thoughts are positive for Pirlo. I estimate him as a man, as a player, and also I believe he will be a great coach. And experience for me is overrated. Pirlo, as we know, as a player, he was already a great mentor and a great coach, and he had an amazing vision of the game. So he was one of those players that he knew what, because as we know, he wasn't the fastest player on the field. He wasn't the fastest midfielder, but he already knew what was happening 2-3 minutes ahead of, before anybody else. So he had that mentality already as a player, and then he was coached by great coaches, and I believe that Juve wasn't gonna get Pirlo just to replace or change. I think there's a project and there's a plan behind this. The thing is that they had to fast track this plan, because I believe Sarri would have stayed one more year if everything would have went well with Champions League, as we know, against Lyon, what happened, and even finishing the way we finished, just 1 point ahead of Inter. I believe Pirlo would have done 1 year in the under 23, and then Sarri most likely the following year would have been gone, and Pirlo would have taken his spot, just to give him 1 more year of experience, 1 year of experience to Pirlo. But I think he doesn't need that, because when they approached him, right, to ask, listen, you have the job now. Do you want it now? That takes guts for someone to actually go and accept, the coaching job of a team that just won the 9th Scudetto in a row. And the funny thing, you guys for sure remember, he was written out by AC Milan before we got him. And
yep.
Conte and Juve believed in him, right? And what did he do? Pirlo was the first player we actually signed with Conte to start this 9-year winning streak, right? And I believe that he will be the coach that will win number 10 for us, and hopefully champions, right? But I think he brings a lot of the modern soccer that we see. Okay, I think right now it will become a younger coach game. Soccer will be more modern. Okay, if you see a lot of like Zidane, what did he do with Real Madrid? If we look at Guardiola, why was Guardiola very successful when he was with Barcelona? He had just come up from the B team, right? He was nobody, right? Same thing Zidane. Same thing Ancelotti, Arrigo Sacchi. We can go down, on and on. How many coaches that they were in their 40s and they were given a chance. So I strongly believe, and I have this good feeling about next year. I think it's going to be a great year, because usually we come back very strong. This year we won, but we won by a thread, right? So I think there's going to be a great year ahead of us with Pirlo as a coach.
And John, your thoughts?
I think, therefore I play. So
you brought that out there, but on purpose, didn't you?
I brought it out here. Obviously, better reading than watching TV. So
that's good.
I don't want to watch COVID-infested news. Look, and no one's got the magic wand or crystal ball or whatever. They say the proof is in the pudding. The proof will be on the field. You got to give him time. I think the fact that he's got the locker room is already something well beyond what Sarri had, even before the season even started, even close. I think the fact that he has such a connection to the experienced part of the dressing room, Gigi,
respect.
Giorgio, the respect that Ronaldo. Look, let's face it. Anybody with remotely an ounce of soccer knowledge would tell you the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, who we like to consider the top 2 in the last 15 years, would look at him as, I would take his jersey. You want me to play with Pirlo? No problem. Pirlo's going to coach me. It's the same mentality with Zidane. Zidane climbed into that role, and I'm glad that Silvio brought it up. Zidane climbed into that role with no experience. And what did he do? Three Champions League?
Yeah.
And with, okay, yes, a marvelous team, but you still have to win it. And he still went up against some very tough competition in terms of tactical leaders in thing. It's not enough to be a coach anymore. And I'm going to say it for those who love him, Conte is a very good coach, but he's not a tactician. And he's proven that in the past. He's proven that last year. And what you know of an individual like Andrea Pirlo, he just doesn't play the game; he studies the game, and and that's why they call him a professore. El maestro and
Yeah.
stuff like that. The guy is he's a pupil of the sport, and now he's stepping into the role of the educator. And I don't know if people actually even know that how often he actually was at Allianz last year on the sidelines watching the game. And if
Yeah.
people really paid attention, he was there almost every home game beneath the actual
Yeah.
the bench of the Juventus bench literally against the on the grass on a chair watching the game. And I don't think most people actually caught on. So he's had some time to be around the atmosphere. I think one of the things that I think as any Juventus fan is, look, we are so used to having the likes of Max Allegri, even Antonio Conte. When you show up to the game, there was no identity with Juventus. Nothing he never wore a thing that said Juventus or had the J. Maybe when he was announced as a coach, that for as Juventus fans I think is a bit of a slight. And I think that that's something that you look at a guy like Andrea, he's so well spoken. He's so well respected. He's not a man of many words, but when he talks, people listen. And I think that that's what he's going to get out of the players. I see a Ronaldo who's much happier on and off the pitch. You see him and think he's praising his new teammates and the eagerness to get started. And you see just the camaraderie. You see the one photo I loved was when Pirlo was talking and Gigi had his arm on his shoulder. I mean, it gives you the sense of family and the sense of this nucleus, this team that
Unity.
is going to work together. As long as we're going to be talking about the transfer market soon. As long as they bring a couple of more pieces, I think the Andrea is going to do well. I don't know about Champions League. I don't think there's much competition for Juventus in the Serie A, but we'll get to that too. But welcome, Andrea. We are very happy and proud to have one of our own back behind the bench, providing the direction to our first team male squad.
Absolutely, and you guys mentioned some great points. He has the room, he has the respect of the players, which was the debilitating factor for Maurizio Sarri last year, which was his undoing was really that they had no respect for the guy. Pirlo commands respect. Yeah. These guys have played against him. They've looked up to him, watched him play for many years. He's got the respect factor. As you guys mentioned, he's a very smart coach. He just released his thesis. He became officially through Coverciano, the academy, the coaching academy in Italy in Coverciano. Released his thesis. I haven't read. It's 30 pages long. I haven't read it, but I have, and I will read the bulk of it. But from what I know, he's got that philosophy, and he's told his players this. He wants the ball at all times. He wants control and possession. When they don't have the ball, he wants them to win it back quickly, and he wants 5 guys attacking at any given time. I think the benefit of having, and it's kind of like a hybrid Guardiola tiki-taka style. However, I think the benefit with Pirlo is, first of all, he played against those teams 12, 13 years ago. So he knows what it's actually like to be on the pitch against a team like that. He's played a similar style, like the Xavi style, the Regista style. He made that position 15 years ago. He has the benefit of being the player. So his intelligence is off the charts. And the fact that he's played against so many different teams for the last 20 years in so many different systems, he now has a better understanding of how to adapt different techniques to different players, but encompassing that one style. So it's going to be similar to a possession-based style, but with different aspects, like the Antonio Conte. He said he inspired him I think you're going to have that possession style, but you're going to have that mentality of always winning back the ball that what we had earlier in this 9-year cycle, as you mentioned, Silvio. The first 4 years with Antonio Conte, always grinding and winning the ball back. I think it's going to be a hybrid of Guardiola and Conte, which, if that's the case, that would be a winning style, not only for Serie A, but for Europe, more importantly, where not only Juventus has lacked over the last number of years, but also the Italian teams. And let's hope that this kind of new philosophy with these former players coming in, changing the game, the actual game itself will change, because it's kind of like the changing of the guard, as you mentioned, Silvio, and it should be a very exciting and interesting season. I'd like to move on to our next topic, which is the transfer market, which again is also another exciting topic in most years. This year, it still has its interest, maybe the most curious year of all, because of the various COVID financial restrictions imposed upon so many teams. Right now, we've made a couple of moves, and then there's obviously some rumored moves coming up. We still have, at the time of recording, we still have a few weeks until October 5th to see if we can grab some few players. There will be some movement, players coming and going. John, I'll start with you on this one. Comments on some of our acquisitions: Weston McKennie, obviously a young American guy, and Dzeko today, the rumored signing over Luis Suarez, which was like a 2-week ordeal. Apparently he's not coming now. Again, like for me personally, and as you guys know, and a lot of our listeners who are hardcore fans, I never believe a transfer until they're actually at Continassa with the jersey, because I just don't trust the media at all. But that's what they're saying. And I mean, I'll get to my thoughts in a second, but I'll start with John, and then I'll go to Silvio on your thoughts on who we have so far.
Well, I think we can start back to last season when we got Kulusevski and obviously Arthur in the obviously the restart after COVID with the swapping of Miralem Pjanic and Arthur Melo, and some money going towards Barcelona. I think that the Arthur Melo deal, it will be telling. I think it's in the core of where I believe Pirlo knows that we have a problem. I think that him and Bentancur will do very well together. I love that pick. And I think Kulusevski, he's a guy that I'm more excited to watch and see. I've watched I mean, I don't know how many people really watched Parma games last year, but I was one of those guys, on the zone. Sorry, I'm going to just mention one of those, broadcasters, but I was on the zone watching the games and watching him play, and he's such a delight to watch. Mm-hmm. He is so smart with the ball. He is such a joker card for Pirlo, and I think Pirlo knows it. And that for me is going to be the telling piece to this team, where we didn't have that type of flexibility in terms of play, where you can push them in the attack, or you can bring them back in the midfield as a flank player, or even tight in between. As you say, you want to take off Dybala and put him on with, if it is Edin Dzeko and Ronaldo, you can actually play him as behind both of them on the team. So he gives you a lot of flexibility in his role. He's young. 10 goals, 11 assists last year. Can you imagine having those 10 goals with Juve this year? And playing with the likes of thing. I would suspect that his assist marks will go up with a certain CR7 as his line mate up front. So I think if I got to pick a transfer, or a purchase is Kulusevski. I actually mentioned it in one of our podcasts and said we need someone similar to or like Edin Dzeko. So I want people to go back. And I know I got flack from a few of the members saying, Edin Dzeko, what are you talking about? Well, guess what? If I put money on there, I probably would have made some of the money Leicester made when they were 5,000 to 1 to win the EPL. But he's an interesting player. I think we haven't had a true poacher in front of the net, and what I mean by that is good in the air, good in terms of ball possession, and good on a one-timer. So he brings a lot of skill. I mean, he is older. I don't know what his legs look like, what they will look like this year, and his stamina, his endurance to play a full 90 minutes. I think that Pirlo will obviously determine that. I'm still of the belief that we do get Dzeko, me and Silvio have been talking offline, and we believe that there's something else brewing, and I don't know what. But when there's an Agnelli involved, and Andrea Agnelli, for whether people like to believe it or not, has been heavily involved in this transfer window. The Agnellis don't like to be involved. They're like a true business owner. They like to put people in place to make those decisions for them. Obviously, they were disappointed not being able to land key components last year along that would help, Ronaldo and bring the Champions League, that wanting of all the fans, that Champions League trophy. But I do believe that there's something that we don't know, whether it be now or whether it be at the transfer window in January. I like to believe that something's happening. And you know what? I'm not killing that Suarez deal. Look, he still went to Perugia. There was all kinds of video clips of him today in Perugia coming in and out of the university there where he took the test, and apparently he's passed with flying colors. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone with a Latin tongue not to pass. But I don't know if you guys got confirmation that he did pass. Has that been?
Yeah, that's what we've heard.
So that's something that I still think that we're open to. And what I want to see is a defenseman. We're talking about multiple guys. We've seen guys leaving. I know that there's talks with DeCilio going to Roma. I don't know how accurate that account is, but hopefully we can get him. I know a few people may hate me by saying this, but we need to move on. And Dest is available. Also Alaba. No, he's gone.
No, Bayern Monaco.
He went.
Bayern Monaco. Yeah.
Guys, I'm in Winnipeg. I am not today.
Is it official, Silvio?
Today.
Is that?
It's not official, but they're saying they have a deal with the player and Ajax.
I know that they were the thing. There's also Alaba that they're talking about as well. I know, but they need money. So we know that Higuain's going. We're waiting for Khedira to go. We need some money being.
Higuain is confirmed today. They confirmed. Juve confirmed.
Yeah, I know that the Alaba deal is contingent about giving up Mary Demiral, which we're not going to give up Demiral for Alaba.
No.
That's too crucial of a piece. But right now, like I said, if we ended up with Dzeko, I'd still want another defenseman. I'm pretty happy with the midfield right now. I could, if is Piazza going? Has he gone to Genoa? Is he going to Genoa? Is that a done deal?
Tomorrow should be the day.
Yeah. So I mean,
tomorrow should be announced.
Stay and see what he could do. It's unfortunate for that young guy, but up until there's talk still about Keane. We got until October 5th, but I don't like to wait till October 5th to get the whole team in place.
I know.
Yeah. So Silvio, what are your thoughts on who we got so far, and who would you like to see coming in before October 5th?
Yeah, me and John been talking a lot about this. So, you know what? It's exciting. I love this time of the year, and this year, like you said, Joe, this is a particular year because not a lot of the big clubs have been really, with the exception of Chelsea. But Chelsea last year was banned, as we know. So they saved a lot of money. So they went on a shopping spree, right? So they're the only actual club that went and spent a lot of money so far. But none of the bigger clubs, as we know, Barcelona, they're having a lot of problems. They won a lot. Real Madrid hasn't done nothing. And, everybody, the media and these journalists, they talk about Juve. You know what? We forgot, like John said, we were proactive in January. We picked up this gem, Kulusevski, which I believe he is a Jolie. He is going to be that important player for Pirlo. That is gonna make the difference when you need that type of energy to go in and make a difference in a game. He will most likely start from the bench, but he will have games where he's gonna be a starter. the Arthur situation, you know what? Paratici and Juve were following this guy actually when he was in Brazil with Fluminense. When he was there, that they liked him from there, and then Barcelona picked him up. Messi said, when he went to Barcelona, that he was going to be the next Xavi, right? So if that's the case, I think we have another winner. And it all depends on Pirlo, because that's the one thing that I forgot to say. What Pirlo brought also in the dressing room right now that I see, there's a lot of enthusiasm in the team. Everybody, like you say, Joe, everybody's laughing. They're happy. Danilo that is making comments. Oh my God, Pirlo is playing with us in scrimmage, this and that. It could be a starter with us, So when they see that in your coach, that brings a lot of inspiration as a player, right? So, and putting in a lot of these young players, I think there's going to be a group of young players, but I also believe we're going to have the right veterans, still around to help these young players develop the right way, and that seems to be the direction. And having said that, I believe that this Zeco Suarez thing is not over. Like you said, Joe. Me too. I believe when I see him sitting down on that desk with the pen in his hands and signing the contract, and it's official, then that's when I believe it's done. But can we actually think that maybe they're looking to get both? Could be a possibility. They need 2 forwards. Why not?
Could be.
If the numbers are right, what they...
Yeah, absolutely. It could. If, again, this is unconfirmed as we record this, but apparently Sami Khedira is going on a free transfer to Man United. If we can get the salary off the books for De Sciglio to Roma, free up some space. Obviously, we had to give up, Higuain again, a guy who, for 3 seasons, played his heart out, scored some goals. All the best to him in Miami as well. So good, great. Thank you, Gonzalo. With a little bit of that salary, it could happen. I mean, who knows? Again, he's not taking the Italian exam for nothing. There's got to be something up, or else
there's got to be more to it.
Or else why would he bother making the trip to Perugia, right?
So, yes, and the other option, it could be that if it's true, like they're saying, that to actually get the passport takes 15 to 16 days, so that will put him out of when you was gonna present the Champions League roster. Could be that maybe we grab him in January.
Yep, that's a possibility. I mean, we're going to need, like you said, Silvio, we're going to need a forward because right now, you've got a couple guys, and we don't even know if Douglas Costa is going to stay or go. That's another wild card. Who knows at this point? I mean, I echo the same sentiments with Kulusevski. He's the type of guy who can play in 3 or 4 different positions. He is a modern footballer, the young player of the year in Serie A.
Yeah, that's right.
Going to be a great player. They can put so many different combinations out there. If Ronaldo needs a break, you can put Kulusevski in the 10, and Dzeko and
injuries happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Arthur, because he can play Mezzala and he can play Regista with Pirlo at the helm, I think he's gonna revive. He's only 24, 25, but his career took a little bit of a bump the last year at Barcelona. I think this is going to revive his career. I got to give a shout out to a fellow North American in Weston McKennie. I think he's a guy who a lot of people are really sleeping on, but if he can be a ball winner and a number 8, even if he's on the bench, if he doesn't start most of the games, I think he's a high energy player that will be great for Europe and in the Champions League against different opponents. I would love to have. I think what we really need is a right fullback. If what you're saying is true with Serginho Dest, he would have been a great player to get. I think if we can get, I don't know, somebody to fill in, because I think
I was gonna say the other name that doesn't go away, is not going away, is Bellerin from Arsenal.
Yeah.
And that could be another move that they could do at the end if they move the Shio, which I believe the Shio is on the way out. I believe they are shopping around the Costa, and most likely you probably go at the end of before the transfer season closes. Now midfield they could be done or not, because if they move Ramsey, that could give us an opportunity to grab somebody like an Awar.
Yeah,
That
he would be a terrific
Pirlo
player.
asked for it.
Oh,
He asked
Absolutely.
for it.
yeah, you add in Awar, you're doing some great things for yourself. That's a player that will, if you could almost say, kind of give you the full soup bowl of a midfield in terms of versatility. But Joe, I know I didn't mention McKennie, but I think that you know what, Pirlo played with probably the best ball winner ever in the world. I think if he was on your heels, you almost want to drop to your knees and go, okay, take the ball in the Gattuso. So he's already been tattooed with that saying that he's got a better finesse touch of the ball, but he's Gattuso like he will not. He's relentless. He will not, and we know from a traditional, just historical perspective, that the Americans are all about fitness. I mean, their intelligence historically in terms of soccer has come in the last 15 to 20 years. Before then, they're, very much a young and inexperienced nation when it came to football, instead of using the word soccer. So, but in the MLS, I'm going to bring it up. I mean, so much is put towards, statistics in terms of how much a player covers a field. I know it's used in Europe, but the tracking that they do here, it's all about fitness. It's all about coverage. And if you look at McKennie, that his coverage is just ridiculous. So this is a guy who brings pairs of lungs and the ability to last games where if you want to give rest to a few players, this guy's coming in. I mean, how old is he? First and foremost,
I think 21.
McKennie, 22. He just turned 22. The day after he signed his contract.
Yeah, he can carry the whole team on his back and be good for another 2 games. That's what you need. We need that, and we didn't have it. So think about
that's right.
In the midfield, how weak we were in terms of our physical abilities and our longevity as the game progressed. The Sarri-like play took a lot of mental and physical drain on the team. Having a guy like McKennie now on the bench or even starting certain games will give you that, almost like this. Arthur will almost be like, okay, I need to be the playmaker. I got this guy behind me who's gonna chop down trees and whatever, because Pirlo had the same thing with Milan. He's like, I don't have to worry about winning the ball. All I have to be worried about is being Andrea Pirlo, and we know what that does. And I know that Andrea gives a lot of praise to Gattuso about how successful he was in Milan because of his dirty play. Dirty play meaning cleaning up the mess and making sure that he didn't have to do it. It allowed him to be who he became. And having someone like McKennie, I'm hoping we're gonna get that ripple effect again, and have this duplication of seeing this Pirlo Gattuso like combination between the both of them.
Conde did the same thing. Sorry, Conde did the same thing. With the Vidal. Vidal was a Gattuso, right? And he was winning balls. So he had Pirlo, being Pirlo, and then he had Vidal doing, winning the balls, going hard. And I think now Pirlo is using that. We said, like you say, John, we need a player like that, and McKennie will do that. He's got a lot of energy. He's very fit. He goes box to box like crazy. It's fast, bad. Surprisingly, he's very good with his feet. They were saying very good with his feet.
He's very well. He's great technically as well, which is
technically, which
is something that we need, because Matuidi, great player in terms of fitness level and energy, but again, with 2 left feet, it just wasn't cutting it. And I think honestly, it's going to come down to we're not going to get both a right back or a midfielder. It's got to be, it's either
One
or.
or the
So if
other.
we get
Yeah.
one or the other, if we get a right back, Cuadrado moves to the bench on midfield. If we get another midfielder like Locatelli or Hassem Oar, then Cuadrado will be the starting right back. And then you can even put Kulusevski in the midfield as well, because he can play there as a number 8. And we didn't mention a guy like Bernardeschi, who he's not gonna go anywhere because his value is negative. He's got no value at all. Same with Rugani; those guys were stuck with them. But I think the move for Pirlo to have which I thought at first was stupid, to have him as a wing back or a left back. But now that I'm thinking about it a couple weeks later, it actually makes a lot of sense, because Bernardeschi, he still has a little bit to give. He's got a little bit of talent. He doesn't have a right foot at all. So if you put him at a left back or left wing back, I think he can hold his own, at least in some games, to just cross it in from the left, and that's it. That's all he's got to do. I think Pirlo might give him a little bit of a confidence boost, because the kid had no confidence last year whatsoever. So I think, for him, even if he's a backup at the right wing, if we can get rid of Costa, I don't see the harm in if he plays once in a while. But I mean, we're stuck with these two, with Rugani as well.
But if he's gonna play the 3-5-2, there's rumors he's gonna play, if he does, like the exhibition game against Novara, with the 3-5-2. I see Bernardeschi, like you're saying, that's gonna be his role. He's gonna be either on the left or on the right, either way, right? Because with Montella, when he was at Fiorentina, that's where he was playing. Because Montella was playing the 3-5-2, so he was playing on the outside wing back, right? And that's when he was very good at, because he would come in, cut in, cross, right? So maybe Pirlo, like we say, he saw things, like John was saying. He was watching the games from last year and seeing what was needed, and how could he use these players that he has, right, and make them better. So you're right, Joe. I think it's either going to be that fullback or another midfielder.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to move on to, so this is probably an interesting, everyone's favorite, or everyone, you always have debates with your buddies about this, the predictions for the upcoming season of Serie A. We'll cover Champions League in October once we get on an October podcast, but we'll go with the season since it's about to start now. So guys, I'll start with myself, and then I'll ask you guys your top 7, who's getting relegated, and then sorry to throw this in here, I forgot to write this down earlier, but the capocannoniere, who you guys would believe at the end of the season. So I'll start with my prediction for the season. I think, so some people are having low expectations of Juve. I've heard some people even say we'll be lucky if we make the top 4. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. I think the goal should be obviously to win the whole thing. And I think we do have the talent to win it again for the 10th year in a row. I think, though, that the Serie A, to our benefit, has actually gotten more competitive over the last 2 years, and the teams have gotten better. Inter Milan, they have flaws, but I mean, if they bring in a couple more bodies, they'll be serious contenders. And I think Antonio Conte, this is the season that's going to make, I think, his career, because he's been complaining and he's been in the media a lot, and he's been facing a lot of scrutiny and a lot of pressure. And I think the guy does well under pressure. He did so with Juventus and with the Italian national team. I think he's going to coach those guys really well this year. AC Milan is, since the restart in June, have been on fire. They won again today in today's Europa League game. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Silvio Pioli, I don't know what happened or what they did, but it looks like they do have a magic wand, John. And they're playing unreal. And I think they're going to challenge certainly for the top 4. And I mean, they've beaten us, and they beat us obviously the 4-2 in the summer. But the last couple of years, they've really, really played us hard, even with less than ideal squads. They've always managed to give us a really good run for our money. Teams like Napoli have been reinforced. Even Fiorentina is going to have a bounce back year, even though I don't expect them to really challenge for a Champions League. Roma is going to take a step back, and Atalanta, we never know. Do they have anything left in the tank after their Cinderella story last year? We'll see. But I think just for my top 4, so this is probably going to upset a lot of Juventus fans, but I think that Inter Milan will be the team that cuts the 9-year cycle, just because they're going to have a little bit more depth, and not because Juve is not going to do poorly. I think it's going to be a very, very close battle. It may come down to goal difference or a point, but I do think it's going to finish Inter first, Juventus second, Atalanta third, and Napoli fourth, with Milan really, really close behind. And in 6 and 7, I've got Roma, and a 7th Fiorentina. For relegation, as much as I love Southern Italian teams, and I want them to do well, Benevento had a great season last year in Serie B, but I just don't think they've got what it takes to stay in this really competitive Serie A. So I think they're going to go down, but it's going to be close. Crotone and Lo Spezia, thanks for coming out, but I don't think, their squad is just a bunch of Serie C and Serie B players. I don't think they're going to cut it in this league, which is a shame, because I'm Calabrese, and I would love for Crotone to stay, but I just don't think they have it. And Lo Spezia, great story, first year ever in Serie A, but let's be real, I don't think they survive the drop. And I think Genoa and Torino are really going to take a step back this year. They may slip into the bottom three in favor of Benevento, so that should be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. And for Capocannoniere, I do believe Cristiano Ronaldo not only is going to win it, but I think he's going to score 37 to 38 goals and win not only the Golden Boot, but also set the record for Serie A goals in a season. That's what my prediction there. Silvio, I'll go with you next for your predictions.
Yeah, it's very, very, like I said, it's going to be a very interesting year. Hopefully, with this COVID, they will allow some fans to go back soon, because that I think makes a big difference also for players. Gives them more of that inspiration and to go and play the game every week. So, like I say, it's going to be, because as we saw these makeup games in the summer, it was no indication of like we had scores like you'd never seen Serie A, right? Defense that nobody was defending sometimes. So, but having said that, I think there's going to be a few surprises when it comes to the top four. I'm not going to change. I believe team. They needed Pirlo this year, because if Sarri was going to stay, yes, maybe we were going to stop at 9. I think with Pirlo coming in, it's going to be number 10 for sure. So Juve will be first, and I think Juve will go for 12, never mind 10. So because Conte will be gone next year. That's my prediction. Inter for second place. Gonna be between Inter and Atalanta again. So I think Inter will finish second again. Atalanta third, and AC Milan fourth. 5th place I see Roma. 6th place Lazio, and 7th place Napoli. Actually, no, sorry. 6th place Napoli and 7th place Lazio. And the bottom three, I'm Calabrese too, but unfortunately, like you said, Crotone didn't have it to the first time they came up. So I think they won't make it. So unfortunately, they will go down to Serie B. Spezia will do the same, and between Benevento and Genoa. Let's pick Genoa, just to keep one team from the south.
Yeah, hey,
So
it could happen very easily. And Capocannoniere, Silvio, you think Ronaldo?
Capocannoniere, I was gonna say Suarez, but it's not official yet, so I'm gonna go with Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo will win the Capocannoniere.
John?
It's just to not toss out. This is the third Calabrese in the discussion today. I'm gonna say La Spezia, Benevento, and Crotone. Maybe Benevento's got a chance. I don't find Parma to be strong without Kulusevski. I think that he can slip in that role. It's going to be a toss-up. Really is how, I have a feeling these teams, we could get surprised. The Spezia, Benevento, Crotone, you're going to see them playing very defensively and hoping for the 1-1 ties. And then the head-to-head meetings between them will be very interesting, where they're going to go for the full 6 points. And if you have a team like Crotone who go and play, 4 games and get 6 points, whatever, that's 12 points plus, a handful of ties and maybe a couple of miracle wins against a few other teams like Sampdoria or a Genoa or what have you, then, you get a chance. I would think in order to not get relegated in Serie A, you need to be between 36 and 40 points to almost put you in the salvation area. And that's been the traditional, what we've seen in the last few years. That's where you need to be. At least you have to be over the 33-point mark in order to even give yourself an opportunity. So there's always a hope for one of those two teams. I'm going to give you my capocannoniere. It's definitely going to be Antonio Conte. I mean Cristiano Ronaldo. I'll bet you that Conte will be fired lots faster than Ronaldo can get to 5 goals. That's my That's my prediction.
Oh, that's a pretty bold prediction.
I honestly think that's just a disaster waiting to happen. And we'll talk about that in another podcast. But Ronaldo, I think this year, I think it was shameful how we left him on the bench the last couple of games where we didn't let him, after breaking so many records for Juventus, first player in 97 years to score the goals that he did, first player in 25 years to score over X amount in Serie A. And then we left him on the bench to not even fight for the capocannoniere against a guy who's 10 years a junior, whatever it is, and lose by 4 or 5 goals, whatever it was. I think that I think Cristiano was very upset about that opportunity because he's all about being number one, and he's shown that, and he's brought a winning mentality. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to reciprocate for him outside of the Scudetto. My top 7, I think I'm going to give a surprise. I think Sassuolo may end up being in that top 7 role at some point. I think that Roma is going to be hurting without Nicolo Zaniolo on the team. That guy is just a marvel. And I think it's a disappointment, not just to Roman fans, but Italian fans and soccer fans alike. He is such a marvel to watch. He is such a potent player. He's got such presence, and they're gonna miss that guy. And you pull out a guy like Edin Dzeko, who was their leader in the dressing room and on the pitch, and you pull him away. If it is true, and that has happened, I don't know if Florenzi still on loan? Is he coming?
No, he's on PSG.
No, PSG.
Yeah, that's right. He's gone. So you talk about the leadership that's missing in that team. There's holes everywhere.
And Dzeko goes, that's it.
Right. So who are you going to bring in? A Milik to be a leader? Milik was barely anything outside of a goal scorer for Napoli. And I mean, I don't know how much you can give a team like that. So if I had to I'd push Lazio ahead. So if I had to start, I'm going to give Juve. I want that 4th star, and I want them to get the 10 in a row. So I give Juve, and it's going to be an interesting battle. I think you may be able to see Atalanta fall into that if they maintain themselves into that 2nd place. It's going to be a battle between Inter and Atalanta. I do believe that I'm going to call my dark horse Milan. I think that if they're able to stay consistent and not lose more than, I'm going to say 6 games. I said if they keep in the 6-7 range, they'll be in the 4th and final position for Champions League. I can see them as low as 6th place. Lazio, same thing, that 4th place. I'm going to go with so 1st Juve, 2nd Atalanta, 3rd Inter, 4th Milan, 5th Lazio. I'm gonna go with, what was the other team? I'm gonna go with
Napoli.
so Napoli in sixth and seventh, Roma.
Yeah, no, it could very well. I think this is going to be an interesting year. There's so many things that can happen. I think, it's anybody's guess. You mentioned Roma, that they did sign Kumbula, who is a great young center back, and I think that was a great move for them in the future. But in the present, yeah, I mean, we're losing Dzeko, losing who they have, even though they did get Pedro for free. I think he might be able to replace Under as well. But I mean, it's again Lazio with the Champions League. I mean, they haven't made any moves, which is a little bit troubling. Oh, they got some Turkish guy. I don't know if he's going to make a big difference, but I mean, they're going to be wasted with Champions League. So
yeah.
I think that's why I had them as 8th and not in 7th, because I think Fiorentina, because they're not playing in Europe, and you have one good year from Chiesa leading up to the Euros. Frank Ribery is going to give one last year of him. And I think that's why they'll sneak in. But, it's going to be an incredible season. You can watch all the live games from two of our friends at both DAZN. If you're a cord cutter and you don't have cable, you can watch them, or if you're old school, Telelatino. And if you're, a newcomer from Italy, there's always Rai Italia. So again, these are all our friends. DAZN and TLN. We've been featured a couple times on each of them. So they're good partners of ours. It's going to be a great season, and I'm just going to get, this is pretty much wraps up the podcast for us. Before we leave, I'll just put in the formalities. So again, thank you to our sponsors of the podcast, Creative Solutions, for any graphic design, web design, branding consulting. You can go to them. They're one of our trusted sources. That's kre8iv.ca, or on Instagram, kre8iv. And our friends at Social Know-How for all your social media marketing needs. You can check them out, socialknowhow.ca and at Social Know-How on Instagram. If you guys haven't joined our club yet, what are you waiting for? Because we've got, happy to announce that we've launched Canada's biggest and best Fantacultural League, 38 weekly prizes, and one grand prize of about 10 officially licensed Juventus items valued at $1,100 if you get the most points. That'll be launching next week. So join. It's for members only. $50 for new members, $35 for returning. With a couple of other announcements I'm not allowed to say right now, but which will come in the future. But we are also the club that offers watch parties. So if you are in Silvio's region, Halton, St. Catharines, Hamilton, southern end of Mississauga, we are having matches this year at Sunnyside Grill, North Oakville. Talk to the guys there. Fantastic people. They've got 2 new TVs set up, our own area. It's going to be all Juve-centric. All the health protocols are obviously going to be in place with masks, social distancing, but we are going to make the best of it, and we are going to bring back as far as we can, knock on wood, with second waves permitting. We're going to give the best possible Juventus experience, and our members already know this, that you can possibly have from us, Canada's biggest and most active Juventus fan club. So again, if you want to meet Silvio in person, if you want to meet the guys down in Oakville, that's Sunnyside Grill, North Oakville, again, one of our sponsors. And for us in the GTA, Shoeless Joe's in Vaughan, 21 Colossus Road. Again, great guys there, another one of our partners. All health protocols are going to be ensured. You can watch the game safely with us. We'll be there this Saturday, and we'll be watching Champions League Serie A games this season there. So again, it's nice to communicate virtually like we're doing, but there's nothing like watching the game in person. Yeah. And some people like to do their things virtually, and that's fine too. But as it was meant to be, we like to watch our games in person. So again, Juventus Official Fan Club Toronto, jofctoronto.com/membership to join. Follow us at Juve Club Toronto on Instagram, at Juve Club TO on Twitter. That's okay. That was a mouthful, and then that's all I've got. So thanks again, Silvio and John, for joining me on episode 6.
Thank you.
And Forza Juve for this upcoming season. Let's I know I didn't predict them to win, but prove me wrong. Let's get number 10. Forza Juve.